Kathie Broyles, creative director at the Colorado Music Hall of Fame, is a designer, creative director, businesswoman, and former senior vice president of the CBS Network Marketing Group, CBS Corporation. Kathie has worked with practically every major entertainment company, delivering award-winning advertising campaigns. Kathie, there's your lady. Let's give her a major role. And she's worked in all facets of entertainment, marketing, major motion pictures, art houses, and independent films, network, television syndicate, home entertainment, music. Her clients include Disney, Touchstone, DreamWorks, Universal, 20th Century, Warner Brothers, and many more. She came to Colorado because somebody invited her to be on the board of the Atlas over at CU, and she ended up in a teaching position. She had two people raise your hand. She's been your mentor, both Bonnie and Sarah. Mentor, Bonnie, especially Bonnie. And I'm going to let her explain more because she's going to have, again, 5 minutes, and she's going to be dancing up here because she's a fast talker and fast speaker. And let's hear it for Kathie.
Wow, why did you invite these women? Are so amazing. So, on a lighter note, seriously. So I'm not going to talk about my childhood, which is fantastic, except that we moved a lot, and that turned out great too. So, but I did just briefly. Oh, because I walk around a lot. I'll try and sit still because it'll use up time if I start walking. So, thank you. So anyway, I loved film because I used to come home from school and watch black and white movies. I loved music because my mother had the radio and the record player on constantly all day. And I loved art, so I got lots of art books, and I took art lessons, and I started oil painting at 9 and won lots of awards. I won 5 fire poster awards in a row when I was in grade school and but I mean, I had a great childhood. I already kind of was on my path. The other thing that really informed my career was I was a tomboy. So I ended up playing with the boys. I played softball, touch football, I don't know what you do when you're in grade school. So I lived with the male brain when I was a young child, and I was an only child. So it was only natural that when I got into business, that I followed the path of music, film, and television. I started in Boulder, actually. I worked at Talagi's and was a beer waitress and talked the owner into letting me do concert posters. I then worked at Fayline, and actually Barry Fay. Luckily, I got to do more concert posters, rock t-shirts. I did my first billboard, and on and on. Then I also expanded my network and got to know every A&R executive at every record company. So that by the time I got to LA, I got into every music, every recording company that existed. I ended up not, even though I did work for Warner Brothers for a while and a couple of album cover designers, I ended up working with George Lucas right after Star Wars as a designer. And then I got into film, and then later got in, I had my own company, film, television, music, did that for 12 years and ended up at CBS as Senior Vice President. So, I didn't try to change the world, but what I did do, I think, was inform a lot of my staff members, a lot of who were women, that they could make it in business. And I did. Instead of going through it, I don't have time, but I figured I would just give you some of my obstacles. Because I think that's something we've talked about, 2 minutes, and I'm so good with deadlines, too. Okay. First of all, I went into a business that was really a man's world in the 70s. And I was often the only woman in the room. Then I was one of 2 women and 3 women, so by the time I left, studios and networks are run predominantly by women. either at the top or as presidents. Anyway, so I'm just going to tell you 3 stories because that's all I have time for. So when I was working at Failing, I started in an entry-level position. I was a receptionist. And Barry Fay, if anyone knows him, actually was very instrumental in getting, oh my God, I can't remember her name, our Pat Schroeder elected. So he was also very philanthropic. I have 1 minute, so I might not, wow, okay. Okay, so, anyway, I just remember when he came up to my desk, after I'd worked there about a month, and stood over me and said, "You can't hear, you can't see, you can't type, and you can't file." Well, I mean, everybody in the office was sort of like guffawed, like, what's she gonna do? Is she gonna cry? Is she gonna get up and quit? Well, I started laughing because I guess that, I think that's my skill of being empathetic, because he started laughing too. And so I would call that an obstacle. I have so many stories, but I only have time for 2 more, probably just 1. So move on, and I moved to LA, and one of my big clients, I have 0 minutes, okay? The orchestra is playing, I'm off the, okay, Samuel Goldwyn. I had done a campaign for Henry V, which was a film that came out in the late 80s. Kenneth Branagh was director and lead actor. Anyway, so I did this campaign. I was so proud of it. They wanted something that was really different, stand out, something they'd never seen before. I gave it to them. It was a campaign using orange day glow ink with type and Kenneth Branagh, and I got calls from my peers and from other people in the studios. They were so impressed. But that day also, I got a call from Samuel Goldwyn's office who said, he wants you in his office now. Now, I knew that wasn't going to be good because they don't call you when they tell you something. I got to the office. I guess I should have the mic, but I'll have to do this in pantomime. So as I walked in, I walked into the office with the other marketing person from Samuel Goldwyn, and he says, see this ad? And I didn't say anything. This is terrible. This isn't at all what I want. It's inappropriate. It's not what I asked for. And took it and tore it up, threw it up into the air, and as I watched the pieces fall down to the floor, I had to come up with something. So I said, I'm sorry, we'll try again, I'll fix it, I'll bring it back. And I did, and it wasn't as good, but it didn't matter, because he's the leader of the game, so. And by the way, Barry Fay was a longtime friend and client, and so was Samuel Goldwyn. The last story, and final, because I know I'm -2 now, is we had Wanda shoot at CBS, which was, we had to shoot 10 primetime shows with both video and still film, and so I had the whole cast of Without a Trace, and 5 bloodhounds on set, being held by the other cast members. Anthony LaPaglia says, "Excuse me, stop the shoot, come talk to me." He says, "Sorry, but I'm not going to do this shoot unless you change the logo." So, unfortunately, I had to say, "Okay, Anthony," because if I didn't, the whole day would have been blown. And if I did, I know I was going to get a lot of phone calls. Well, the latter happened. We did the shoot. I got a call from the president, who was not happy. I got a call from my boss, not happy, and then I got a call from Jerry Bruckheimer's office, who yelled and screamed as well. However, I stayed at CBS for 12 years under contract, and I guess that's it.